The director yelled cut. Just as Ethan Hale's lips closed over mine, take 20, he held a cigarette loosely between his fingers, his eyes dark and burning with suppressed hunger. Don't know how to kiss. His warm fingertips pressed into the nape of my neck, his voice rough and thick with desire. Let me show you. My heart hammered wildly. 5 years of secret pining, and this was the moment I'd waited for. I curled my fingers into his tie, rose on my tiptoes, and leaned in to murmur against his ear then. Do we use tongue, director? And just like that, take 20 was dead, another flub. The director's roar nearly blew the roof off the soundstage. June Ellis. What is wrong with you? Is it really that hard to just press your lips together? You're kissing Ethan Hale, the man voted most kissable in the entire industry. What's with the look of pure terror on your face? Behind the monitor, every eye in the room burned into me like needles. My cheeks burned with embarrassment. I twisted the hem of my costume in my fists, head bowed, looking like a wronged little wife. I'm sorry, director. I'm just so nervous. It's my first time doing a kissing scene. My voice was soft, laced with just the right amount of tremor and watery hesitation. Sure enough, the director's anger deflated. He couldn't very well yell at a nervous rookie. The man across from me, Ethan Hale, said nothing the entire time. He lounged back on the sofa, long legs crossed, lazy and unbothered. The top to buttons of his costume were undone, revealing a sliver of pale, sharp collarbone. He flipped a lighter open and shut in his hand, the metal casing glinting cold under the studio lights. Click, click. Each sound tapped against my ribs. He didn't look at me, but I could feel it, that distant, heavy gaze, fixed steadily on me, like he was studying me, or like he was enjoying the show. 5 years. 5 years since I'd traded my paintbrushes for the chaos of the entertainment industry, all for this moment, all so I could stand in front of him, fair and square. And now, here I was. 10-minute break. The director waved a hand in annoyance. I breathed a silent sigh of relief and quickly stood to bow. I'm sorry, Mr. Hale, for causing you so much trouble. Ethan finally lifted his eyes. Those gorgeous, soft-lidded eyes of his looked warm on everyone, yet were cold as ice. Trouble? He huffed a quiet laugh and stood. At 6'2", he cast a long shadow that swallowed me whole. Yeah, you are trouble. With that, he turned and walked away. I stared at his broad, straight back, my nails digging hard into my palms at my sides. Easy, June, the show's just getting started. My assistant Mia trotted over with a water bottle. You okay, June? Don't mind the director. He's just got a short fuse. I don't think Mr. Hale was mad. Don't beat yourself up over it. I took the water and forced a smile that probably looked worse than a cry. I'm fine, hardly. My heart was still trying to beat its way out of my throat over those 20 failed takes. Every time our lips had been about to touch, I'd caught that cool, woody scent of him, faintly mixed with cigarette smoke. It smelled good, unreasonably, devastatingly good, and so sexy. I was scared that if we got any closer, the calm, composed act I'd kept up for 5 years would shatter right there. Mia, can you run and get me an iced Americano? Extra ice. I needed to cool down badly. After she left, I collapsed into a chair in the corner and let my mind go blank. My head was a mess, full of nothing but Ethan's face, his sharp nose, his thin lips, that dark beauty mark beneath the corner of his eye that added a sinful edge to his pretty face. What are you thinking about? A low voice spoke suddenly, right above my head. I jolted so hard I nearly flew out of the chair. Ethan, he'd appeared out of nowhere, standing right in front of me, and in his hand, an iced Americano? Here. He held the coffee out to me, jerking his chin toward the direction Mia had gone. She asked me to bring this to you. I stared, stunned. Oh, thank you, Mr. Hale. I reached for it, and our fingertips brushed his were cool, and the contact sent a shock up my arm. I yanked my hand back like I'd been burned, and nearly spilled the whole cup. He frowned, his gaze sweeping over my face. That look was too deep, too heavy, like he could see straight through me. June, he said my name suddenly. Is this really your first kissing scene? My heart skipped a hard beat. Why yes, nervous, mum. He leaned down suddenly, bringing his face inches from mine. The distance between us shrank to nothing in an instant. I could see every long, dark lash of his. Why are you shaking? His low voice, rough with something I couldn't quite place, hummed in my ears. You scared I'm gonna eat you alive? I held my breath, blood rushing straight to my head. Was he flirting with me? Ethan Hale, the man famous for being a walking rulebook on set, never so much as breathing the same air as his female co-stars off camera, flirting with me? My brain went completely blank. I just shook my head hard on instinct and no, that's not. He looked at my flustered state and let out a low, quiet laugh. I could feel the vibration of it in my own chest. Relax, I'm messing with you. He stood back up, that cold, distant mask sliding back into place. Get ready. We're rolling again soon. He turned and left. I watched as he tossed the other iced Americano, the one he'd been holding, straight into the trash. Untouched. My heart sank right along with it. He hadn't brought it for me at all. He'd just been passing by, or worse. He'd just wanted to see me fluster. I curled my fingers tight around my coffee cup. The cold seeped into my hands, yanking me back to reality. Get a grip. June, this man is the moon in the sky, and you're just a speck of dust on the ground. You're nowhere near good enough to make him look your way. Take 21. The director's voice was practically begging. Now please, you two, just this one shot, one kiss, and we wrap for the night. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. When I opened them again, the nervousness and timidity were gone, replaced by something sharp and reckless. You wanted a show. Ethan Hale, I'll give you one action. On the sofa, the tension hummed thick enough to cut. I played the girl who'd loved him in secret for years, finally working up the courage to confess, and he was the man above it all, holding all the power. I leaned in slowly, 10 centimeters, 5, 3. I could see the bob of his Adam's apple, could smell that calm, woody scent of him. This time, I didn't flinch. A split second before our lips touched, I stopped. Then I lifted my eyes and looked straight into his. Those eyes, always so distant and cold, held my reflection clear as day. I saw the flicker of surprise in them. Then I lifted a hand and curled my fingers lightly around his tie. I tugged gently, pulling him closer. Mr. Hale, I spoke in a soft voice only he could hear. Didn't you say I was trouble? His pupils blew wide. I smiled like a fox that had just stolen the candy. Then I closed my eyes and kissed him first. Soft, warm contact, gone almost as soon as it came. But in that 1 second our lips touched, I felt it. His whole body went rigid. Cut. Perfect. The director jumped up from behind the monitor. Ecstatic. That was perfect. June, why couldn't you have done that 20 takes ago? The whole set erupted in applause. I let go of his tie and stood up like nothing had happened, stepping back to a polite, professional distance. Thank you for the guidance, Mr. Hale. I smiled. Polite and distant, like the girl who'd tugged his tie and kissed him first was a total stranger. Ethan stayed seated on the sofa, unmoving, under the lights. His face was half in shadow, impossible to read. I couldn't see his expression, but I could feel his gaze on me, hotter, hungrier, more intense than ever before. Slowly, he lifted a hand and brushed his thumb over his own lips. The movement was indecent, loaded with something dark and wanting. My heart skipped a beat. Once we wrapped, I washed off my makeup and changed as fast as I could, ready to bolt. I'd played with fire today, and I'd burned a little too hot. If I stayed any longer, I was scared that look of his would burn me to ash. June, you were amazing today. Mia trailed after me, looking starstruck. That final kiss, that look in your eyes, chef's kiss. You totally sold the quiet pining and the last-ditch courage. I touched my nose, guilty. It was okay, Mr. Hale made it easy. Hey, can you go pull the car around from the parking lot? I'll be right there. I needed an excuse to get rid of her for a minute. Mia bought it and skipped off. I breathed a sigh of relief and turned to slip out the back exit. I turned straight into a solid wall of muscle. Ow. I clutched my stinging nose, eyes watering, in that much of a hurry to run away. That same familiar voice, cold and sharp as shards of ice. I looked up and met Ethan's eyes, amused and glinting. He leaned against the wall with his hands in his pockets, lazy and blocking my only way out. Mr. Hale, you're still here? I wanted the ground to swallow me whole, waiting for you. Short and to the point, waiting for me? Why? My heart jumped into my throat. Was he about to chew me out? After all, I'd basically flirted with him in front of the whole crew. Explain? He took a step forward, backing me into the wall. Explain what? The kiss? His voice was quiet, but heavy with unshakable authority. You were acting for the first 20 takes. You were acting for the last one too. What are you playing at, June? My mind raced. He'd seen through me. He knew all that nervousness had been an act. This man was unreal. I forced myself to calm down and lifted my head to meet his gaze. Mr. Hale, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a rookie. I don't have much experience. So, is that right? He cut me off, a mocking tilt to his lips. A rookie so nervous about a kissing scene she can't stop shaking. He paused, his gaze dropping to my hands. Spent 5 years studying classical oil painting just because her crush liked it. Boom. My brain short-circuited completely. How? How did he know that? I'd never told anyone about that. It was my deepest, most carefully guarded secret. I couldn't speak, too stunned. He looked at me, his gaze deep as an old well. I saw your painting when I was filming in France. At a small auction. It was called Moon. It was a painting of me. The world tilted beneath my feet. What did he just say? He'd seen my painting at an auction in France? That painting had been my final piece in college. A man's back, under the moon, cold, proud, untouchable. That man was Ethan. I'd always assumed it had been bought by some random stranger, never to be seen again. I never in a million years thought the buyer would be. That painting's in my house now. Ethan's voice pulled me out of my shock. So June, you planned this. Worked your way into the industry. Got yourself in front of me. What do you want? This is it. It's all over. He'd ripped open my biggest secret. No mercy. All my acts, all my masks, they were just a joke to him. All the strength drained out of me. I slid down the wall until I was sitting on the floor. What do I do now? Admit it? Admit that I'd loved him for 5 years, that I'd given up painting to throw myself into this messy industry just for him? No, I can't admit it. If I admit it, I lose. Completely. I lifted my head, my face blank and innocent. Mr. Hale, I really don't know what you're talking about. What painting? What moon? I never painted anything like that. Besides, I studied traditional Chinese ink painting, not oil. I looked him dead in the eye and said every word clearly. That's right. I studied ink painting, my last escape route. He might know I painted that piece, but he doesn't know everything about me. If I just keep denying it, he can't prove anything. Ethan narrowed his eyes, like he was trying to tell if I was lying. After a long moment, he smiled. Interesting. He crouched down until we were eye level. You've got a sharp tongue, don't you? He lifted a hand and curled his fingers around my chin, tilting my face up to his. His fingertips were hot, so hot they made my heart tremble. June, I don't care what you're after. And don't play your little games with me. I don't like trouble. He paused, and his eyes went cold, and I really don't like being hunted. With that, he let go and stood up, looking down at me from above. Starting tomorrow, cut the innocent little act, or there will be consequences. He turned and walked away, no hesitation. I didn't move until his figure vanished down the hallway. Then I collapsed against the wall, drained, cold sweat soaked through the back of my shirt. I won the bet. He was just suspicious. He had no proof, but I'd also lost. He'd torn a hole in my mask. What do I do now? Keep pretending? Or, just then, my phone rang. It was my agent, Vivian. The second I answered, she lit into me. June Ellis. Have you lost your mind? Who told you to mess with Ethan Hale? Do you know his agent just called me? What did he say? My stomach dropped. He said Ethan wants you to come to his trailer tonight, said he's gonna give you private coaching for tomorrow's scenes. I hung up the phone, still in shock. Ethan wants me at his trailer? Calling it private coaching? What is he playing at? 1 minute he's warning me to stop playing games, the next he's inviting me over. It's a trap. That was the only thought in my head. Do I go? Or not? If I go, I might be walking straight into the lion's den. He'll eat me alive. If I don't, I'm defying him. With his status in this industry, crushing a rookie like me would be easier than stepping on an ant. I agonized over it for 10 whole minutes. Finally, I set my jaw. I'm going. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't go into the tiger's den, you can't get the tiger cub. I wanted to see what Ethan Hale was really up to. The studio had given Ethan the nicest, most luxurious trailer on set. I walked to the door, took a deep breath, and knocked. Come in. His low voice came from inside, sharp as a command. I pushed the door open. Warm air washed over me, laced with the faint scent of red wine. Only a dim wall lamp was on inside. Ethan sat in that soft, golden half-light. He'd changed out of his costume into a black silk robe, the collar hanging open loosely. He held a glass of red wine, swirling it slowly in his hand. Those soft, dark eyes of his looked even more intoxicating in the warm glow, lit up by the wine in his glass. You made it. He looked up at me, his voice lazy and rough around the edges. Mr. Hale. I was so nervous I didn't know what to do with my hands. This scene, this vibe, this didn't look like a script read through. It looked like, sit. He gestured to the sofa across from him. I walked over like a puppet on strings, stiff as a board, and perched on the very edge of the cushion. Want a drink? And no, thanks. I shook my head quickly. Scared I'll slip something in it? He chuckled, teasing no. No way. I shook my head harder, as if I'd say no even if he did. He set down his wine glass and picked up a script from the table. You read tomorrow's scenes? Why yeah. I read them. What happens in them? The female lead finds out the male lead lied to her. She has a breakdown and kisses him, forcefully. My voice got smaller and smaller as I spoke. What kind of wild script was this? It was just kiss after kiss, Mum. Ethan nodded and tossed the script onto the table in front of me. Act it out for me, huh? Right now? What else? He raised an eyebrow. You think I invited you here to tour my trailer? But there's no camera, no lights. I'm the camera, I'm the lights. His tone left no room for argument. June, don't make me say it a third time. I had no choice. I picked up the script and tried to work myself into the right headspace. This was a big, explosive scene. The lead finds out the man she loves has been using her, getting close to her father to steal trade secrets. Her whole world crumbles. Love turns to hate. I closed my eyes. But instead of the scene, I thought of that rainy night 5 years ago. I'd carried my favorite painting, so excited to show it at a gallery opening, and the judge had humiliated me in front of everyone, said my work was soulless, just technical skill with no heart. I'd sat in the rain with my painting and cried all night. Just when I was ready to give up entirely, an umbrella appeared over my head. Back then, Ethan wasn't the huge, shining star he is now. He'd worn a plain white t-shirt and jeans, clean and fresh like a college student. He'd pressed the umbrella into my hands and bought me a hot cocoa. He'd said, "Don't cry, your painting is beautiful, like Monet's water lilies, quiet, but stubbornly alive." He had no idea those words had pulled me out of the darkest place I'd ever been, and that they'd pushed me straight into another abyss, one named Ethan Hale, with no way out. The emotion hit me like a wave. I snapped my eyes open, eyes burning red, and stared right at him. Why? My voice shook with raw feeling. Why did you lie to me? Ethan leaned back against the sofa, watching me with calm, focused attention. There was a flicker of approval in his eyes. Not bad, you're getting there, keep going. His approval hit me like a shot of adrenaline. I threw all caution to the wind. I stood up and walked toward him, tears spilling down my cheeks. I loved you so much. I trusted you. But what am I to you? Just a pawn? I grabbed the front of his robe, voice raw and breaking. Ethan, look at me. Tell me the truth. Did you ever love me at all? I was too far gone now, lost in the feeling. These weren't just lines. They were the questions I'd carried in my heart for 5 years, too scared to ask. Ethan, do you remember that rainy night? Do you remember that girl you warmed up with a cup of hot cocoa? Did you ever, even for a second, feel something for me? Ethan didn't answer. He just watched me, quiet. His gaze was complicated, impossible to read. In the dim light, half his face was lit, half in shadow. I couldn't see through him. I never would kiss him. He spoke suddenly. His voice was low, almost hypnotic. In the script, this is where you kiss him. My brain went completely blank. My rational mind knew this was just acting, but my feelings were a runaway horse. No reins to hold them back. I leaned down and kissed him hard, pressing my lips to that mouth I dreamed about for so many nights. It wasn't really a kiss, it was biting, desperate. I put everything I had into it. 5 years of longing, of hurt, of loving someone I could never have. I thought he'd push me away, or that he'd go stiff, like he had on set earlier. But he didn't. The second my lips touched his, he flipped the switch. One hand tangled in the back of my hair, the other wrapped around my waist, yanking me hard into his lap. The world spun. By the time I registered what was happening, he had me pressed back into the soft sofa. His big body loomed over me, trapping me between him and the cushions. He deepened the kiss. No more just pressing lips together. His tongue slid past my lips, claiming every part of me. Possessive, overwhelming, impossible to resist. The scent of red wine mixed with that warm, woody cologne of his, wrapping around me completely. I gave in entirely. My brain went fuzzy. My limbs went weak. I clung to him like a vine around a tree, helpless against the storm of him. I don't know how long it lasted. Long enough that I thought I might die right there, in that kiss. Finally, he pulled away. We were both breathing hard. The trailer was silent. Nothing but the sound of our pounding hearts. June. He hovered over me, staring down into my face. Those pretty eyes of his burned like fire. Is this what you wanted? His voice was rough, wrecked. I looked up at him, tears still clinging to my lashes. Before I knew what I was doing, I lifted my hands and curled them around his neck. Mr. Hale. I leaned in and whispered 2 words against his ear. Breath warm, not enough. I felt his whole body go rigid. His Adam's apple bobbed hard. The next second, he leaned down and kissed me again. This kiss was harder, wilder, hungrier than the last, like he wanted to devour me whole. My fingers tangled in the silk of his robe, clutching tight. The smooth fabric bunched and wrinkled under my hands against his back. Outside the trailer window, the wind had picked up, who knew when. Tree branches swayed and rustled. Their shadows danced across the window, and it looked like the trailer was shaking. I woke up the next morning in a big hotel bed. My whole body ached, like I'd been hit by a truck. I stared at the ceiling for a good 10 minutes blank. My head was full of last night, of that trailer, of all the wild, out of control things that had happened. Ethan's kisses, his breath, the heat of his skin. I covered my face with my hands. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, I'd really done it now. I'd kissed him, sure, but we'd also, okay. We hadn't gone all the way, not quite, but pretty much everything else. We'd done it. I grabbed my phone to check the time. The second the screen lit up, I was flooded with notifications and tags. Entanglements, breaking, a lister's pure image shattered 3 hours in trailer with new actress. The tag blazed bright red, marked viral. I tapped into the thread and my scalp went cold. It was a secretly filmed video. The footage was grainy, just Ethan's trailer parked in the studio lot. And then, for a good 10 seconds, the trailer rocked back and forth in a steady rhythm. The person who filmed it added a caption. June Ellis went into Ethan's trailer alone at PM last night. Didn't leave until AM, 3 hours. The trailer was practically falling apart. You do the math. There were hundreds of thousands of comments already. No way. Is this real? I thought Ethan was the pure one. His image just shattered. Who's June Ellis? Some D-lister trying to use our boy for clout. Get lost. Girl, the video's right there. Stop defending him. Your pure king is just a hypocrite. Okay, but they're both single. What's the big deal? Though, damn, dude's got stamina. Apparently, my vision went dark. I almost passed out. This was so out of hand. We'd just been running lines, right? Rehearsing. Okay, maybe really intense rehearsal, but still just rehearsal. And the shaking? That was just the wind. I fumbled to open the social media app and type a statement. I had to clear this up. Right now, to members of the media and the public, I would like to clarify the video circulating from last night. Mr. Hale and I were only rehearsing scenes in his trailer. There is no inappropriate relationship between us. The movement of the trailer was caused by strong winds last night, not anything else. Please do not spread rumors. Thank you. I read it over. Thought it sounded fine. I was just about to hit post. Vivian called again. June. Thank God you're awake. Did you see what's trending? Yeah, I saw. I'm about to post a clarification. Clarification my ass. Vivian cut me off. Don't post anything. Don't say a word. Wait for the company's PR statement. But no buts. June, listen to me. This is way bigger than you now. Stay in your hotel room. Don't go anywhere. Wait for my call. With that, she hung up. I stared at my phone, stunned. This was worse than I'd thought. Way worse. I refreshed the trending page, and in the few minutes I'd been on the phone with Vivian, another tag had exploded onto the list. Entanglements. This one was marked trending hard, boiling over. I was basically under house arrest. Vivian took my phone, cut off all my contact with the outside world. Every day, only the woman bringing meals knocked on my door. No one else. I felt like a caged bird. No, like a rat everyone wanted to stomp on. I had no idea what was happening out there. No idea how Ethan was holding up. No idea what would happen to either of us. Would our companies shelve us? Would we be canceled entirely? I didn't dare think about it. During that time, word came from production. Filming was paused indefinitely due to personal issues with the leads. I knew exactly who they meant. Me and Ethan. I dragged him into this. If I hadn't been so clever, hadn't tried to mess with him, if I hadn't been stupid enough to go to his trailer, would any of this have happened? For the first time, I doubted myself, doubted every choice I'd made. 3 days passed in a blur. On the third night, Vivian finally showed up. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Get dressed. Come with me. She tossed my phone onto the bed, her voice cold. Where are we going? You'll see when we get there. I didn't dare ask more. I followed her downstairs in silence. A black van was waiting out front. The windows were tinted so dark you couldn't see inside at all. When I got in, I saw someone else was already there. Ethan, he was dressed all in black too, mask and baseball cap pulled low, face completely hidden. He just lifted his eyes when I got in. Didn't say a word. The air in the van was thick, suffocating. I sat as far away from him as I could. Barely breathing, we drove for a while, finally pulling into the underground parking lot of a private hospital. Come on, Vivian opened the door. I followed them into a VIP elevator that went straight to the top floor. When the doors opened, 2 men in black suits were waiting. They bowed respectfully when they saw us. Mr. Hale, everything's ready. I was more confused than ever. What was going on? I thought we were going to a press conference to clear things up. Why were we at a hospital? Ethan led us into a hospital room. An old man in a hospital gown lay in the bed. The heart monitor beeped softly beside him. Grandpa. Ethan walked to the bed and spoke softly. The old man slowly opened his eyes. When he saw me, something lit up in his cloudy gaze. You must be. Ethan took his hand, voice gentle. Yeah, Grandpa. This is June. Then he turned to me and spoke slowly, clearly. June, this is my grandfather. He's the one who bought your painting Moon at that auction in France, 5 years ago. I froze, completely. Ethan's grandfather. His grandfather was the one who bought my painting? What was happening? Come here, dear. Let me get a good look at you. The old man waved me over. His voice was weak, but kind. I glanced at Ethan automatically. He nodded at me. Only then did I walk hesitantly to the bed. Hello, sir. Hello. Good girl? The old man took my hand and studied my face with those cloudy eyes of his. You look just like her, just like the girl in the painting, exactly like the little girl in your painting. I was even more confused now. Little girl in the painting? But my painting Moon was just Ethan's back. There was no little girl in it. Ethan, show her the painting. The old man nodded. Ethan nodded and pulled a long tube from the cabinet nearby. He opened the tube and carefully unrolled the canvas inside. Then he held it out for me to see. When I saw what was on it, my breath caught in my throat. It was definitely my painting. Same brushstrokes, same composition, same colors I'd used. A man's cold, lone back under the moonlight, but next to his back, someone had added a little girl. She sat on the steps in a white dress, knees pulled to her chest, looking up at the moon and the side of her face. It looked exactly like me. That was impossible. I'd never painted that girl. What is? I couldn't finish the sentence, too shocked. Ethan painted her. The old man smiled, warm and pleased. After I bought your painting, he'd stare at it for hours every day. Then one day, I caught him adding that little girl to it. When he thought no one was looking, I asked him who she was. He wouldn't say, just smiled like an idiot. Right then I knew, the boy had it bad. His words hit me like a bomb going off in my head. I snapped my head up to look at Ethan. He was looking right at me. Those eyes that had always been so cold and distant were soft now, full of warmth, and something tender, something fond. So, my voice was shaking. You knew who I was. This whole time? Not just from the auction, before that. He didn't answer. He just walked over and took the painting from my hands. Then he pointed to the ground at the little girl's feet. There was a tiny signature there, so small you could barely see it. My signature, from when I'd painted it all those years ago. Kiao, that rainy night, 5 years ago. Ethan's voice was low and soft, like a cello playing alone. That girl I found crying in the rain, holding her painting. It was you. The truth peeled back layer by layer, like an onion, sharp, stinging, and impossible to cry through. All this time I'd thought it was one-sided pining. But from the very start, it had been mutual. I'd chased his light, and he'd been right there, waiting for me, all along. So, that night in the trailer, I still couldn't quite believe it. You invited me on purpose? Yeah, he admitted it easily, and the trending tags. I had those leaked too. I sucked in a sharp breath. Why? How else was I gonna get you to walk right into my trap? He looked at me, gaze warm and intense. How else was I gonna bring you to meet Grandpa properly? And besides, he paused, leaned down, and whispered in my ear, so quiet only I could hear. I wanted to see what it felt like, for you to make the first move. My face burned bright red. This man, he was a devious, scheming fox. I'd thought I was the hunter, the one in control. Turns out I was just the rabbit, lured straight into his snare. Step by step, The old man in the bed cleared his throat pointedly. All right. You two? I'm still sick in bed, you know. Have some decency. I scrambled out of Ethan's arms, my face on fire. Ethan, for his part, looked perfectly unbothered. He turned back to his grandpa. So grandpa, do you approve? Approve of what? The old man played dumb. Approve of me marrying her? Boom, my brain short-circuited all over again. Marry me? Wasn't this moving a little fast? We'd just barely confessed to each other. I didn't say I approved. The old man huffed and turned his head away. Playful and stubborn, not unless this young lady says yes herself. With that, he looked right at me. There was a little scrutiny in his gaze, but mostly hope. What do I do? Say yes or no? My heart was a tangled mess. Just then, the door to the room burst open. Vivian and Ethan's agent walked in together. Both of them looked grave. Ethan, June, we have a problem. Ethan's agent held out a tablet for us to see. On the screen was a brand new tabloid headline, sharp and vicious. It read, "Exposed. The truth behind Ethan. June's trailer gate newcomer chases wealth by romancing both grandfather and grandson in real-life drama." The whole article was complete garbage. It painted me as a ruthless gold digger, willing to do anything to get ahead, said I'd known about his grandfather's fortune all along, had targeted Ethan on purpose, faked the chance meeting and the secret crush act, all to marry into money and get roles funded by the Hale family empire. The article sounded convincing, too, with so-called evidence attached. A photo of me walking in and out of a gallery owned by Hale Corp., a copy of the auction record from when Grandpa Hale bought my painting, and a security camera screenshot of Ethan and me walking into the hospital elevator, one after the other. This is slander. I shook with anger. I'd gone to that gallery just to see an exhibit. I'd had no idea about the auction at all. As for the hospital, I'd had no clue where we were going. Who's behind this? Ethan's face went cold as ice. We traced it. Small new tabloid. Looks like your rival's backing them. Luna Voss? A cold glint flashed in Ethan's eyes. Luna Voss was another A-list actress in the industry. She'd seen Ethan as her biggest rival for years, always sabotaging him, openly or behind his back, most likely. The internet's blowing up. Vivian's face was grim. All the fans who felt bad for you, who thought you were innocent, they've all turned on you now. They're calling you a modern-day Jezebel, saying Ethan's an idiot, that he's blinded by lust. Some of them are already doxing you, digging up your address and your parents' info. Listening to all that, the room spun around me. Cyberbullying. For the first time, I felt how truly terrifying it was. It could lift you to the top of the world 1 second and crush you into the dirt the next. Grandpa? I looked automatically at the old man in the bed, scared he'd think less of me after all this. The old man just smiled and patted my hand. Don't be scared, dear. An honest man has nothing to fear. This little storm isn't going to shake the Hale family. He paused and looked at Ethan. Ethan, you know what to do. Ethan nodded. There was a resolve in his eyes I'd never seen before. I know. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Hey Carter, draw up a statement for me. No, not a clarification. He looked right at me as he spoke. Every word clear, loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. It's an engagement announcement. The entire internet broke, all over again. Less than half an hour after the expos dropped, Ethan's official studio account and my personal account posted identical, uncompromising statements at the exact same time. The statement didn't bother explaining any of the ridiculous rumors. It just dropped a photo, plain and simple. A photo of me and Ethan. He was hugging me from behind, chin resting on my shoulder, smiling soft and fond, and on my finger, a huge statement diamond ring. The caption was just 8 words. My girl, none of your business. Beneath it, a cease and desist letter from a lawyer, suing the tabloid that broke the story and dozens of accounts that had spread the malicious rumors. It was the boldest move I'd ever seen. The comments section exploded instantly. No way. WHAT kind of plot twist is this? They're engaged? My girl, none of your business. I'm screaming. Ethan is so hot. That's the ultimate protective boyfriend line. So the trailer shaking was real. And the grandfather thing is real too? Girl, are you blind? Did you miss the lawyer letter? Keep spreading lies and you're next. I don't care. My ship is canon. I'll bring the city hall to them. Get married right now. Public opinion flipped completely. Just like that, all the people who'd hated me the most were now the biggest shippers. People were so ironic sometimes. I stared at all the well wishes on my screen, feelings all mixed up. That was it. It was all over. You gonna stand there grinning like an idiot all day? Ethan pinched my cheek, teasing. I blinked and looked at him. That ring. Fake, he answered immediately. Huh? Photoshopped. And the engagement? Also fake. I stared at him, speechless. So everyone had known except me? So what are we, now, going to get married? He laced our fingers together and started pulling me toward the door. Huh? Where are we going? City Hall, right now? But, the paperwork. Got it right here. He waggled two little red folders in his hand. I looked closer. One of them was my birth certificate and ID paperwork. When had he gotten that? When did you? Those 3 days you were stuck in the hotel. He smiled like the cat that ate the canary. Went to visit your parents myself, asked for their blessing, while I was at it. Me. June Ellis, 23 years old, on the day the whole internet hated me most, I got dragged to City Hall by the man I'd loved for 5 years, tricked and cajoled every step of the way. And then my name was added to his family record. I was still in a daze when they handed us the marriage certificates. After we got the certificates, the first thing Ethan did wasn't take me out for a fancy dinner to celebrate. He took me back to where it all started, his trailer. Everything inside looked exactly like I remembered. The dim wall lamp, the soft sofa, that half-finished bottle of red wine. How's it feel? Coming back. He wrapped his arms around me from behind, chin resting in the crook of my neck, his warm breath fanned over my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Mrs. Hale? He said it. My face burst into flames. Don't call me that. Why not? He played innocent. We're married now. Can't I call my wife that? I'm not used to it. You will be. Once I say it enough. He chuckled low and nipped softly at my earlobe. I trembled, nearly going weak in the knees and his arms. This man was too much. Walking, talking temptation. Ethan, I turned around in his arms and cupped his face. Be honest. When did you start liking me? Was it really that rainy night 5 years ago? It was the question I'd always wanted to ask, but never dared, scared the answer would disappoint me. Ethan looked at me, more serious than I'd ever seen him. No, my heart dropped. It was earlier than that. Earlier? I blinked, confused. Do you remember? He said, senior year of high school. Your school had an art festival. You went up on stage as the student representative and painted a traditional ink piece. I thought hard, trying to remember. Yeah, I think that did happen. It was the first time I'd shown my art in front of the whole school. I'd been so nervous my hands were shaking the whole time. I was there that day. Ethan said, our schools were partner schools. I was invited to be a judge. My eyes went wide. You? A judge? But why don't I remember you at all? Because I was wearing a mask, sitting all the way in the back corner. And back then, I wasn't as famous as I am now. I sort of remembered now. There had been a guy in a mask on the judge's panel, hadn't there? I'd thought it was weird, wearing a mask in that heat. I never would have guessed it was Ethan Hale. You painted bamboo that day, he said. Bamboo in the wind, strong, upright, unbroken. I remember thinking, the girl who painted that must be really interesting. That's why I recognized you right away, that rainy night. So that was how it was. Our story had started so much earlier than I'd ever known, and I'd had no idea. So, I looked at him. Was it love at first sight? Not exactly. He shook his head. No, it was lust at first sight. He smirked, cheeky and playful. Then he scooped me up into his arms and carried me toward the big bed at the back of the trailer. Mrs. Hale, it's getting late. His voice was rough, thick with promise. Time we took care of some official business. The warm light draped everything in a soft, hazy glow. He set me down gently on the soft bed. He hovered over me, those pretty dark eyes of his like deep water, pulling me in. June. He said my name, low and warm, enough to make my whole body tingle. I twisted the sheets in my fists, nervous. I've waited so long for this, he said. Me too. I'd waited so long for this day, long enough that I'd almost forgotten what that first spark felt like. He leaned down, but didn't kiss me. He just brushed his nose softly against my cheek, down my neck, like a big cat marking its territory. That woody cologne of his, that scent that was just him, wrapped around me completely, and I felt so safe. Scared? He asked. I shook my head. With you, I'm not scared of anything. He smiled. That smile, warm as winter sun, melted the last of my nerves away. Then he lowered his head and kissed me. This kiss was different from all the others. No tentative back and forth like the scenes we'd filmed, no wild, hungry possession like that night in the hallway, just soft, endless warmth and tenderness, like he was pouring 5 years of longing and love into that one kiss, giving it all to me. The trailer shook again, soft and steady, back and forth, but this time, we both knew it wasn't the wind, it was us, it was love. 5 years of feeling, all bursting free at last, bright, burning, all-consuming love. The next morning, I woke up and Ethan wasn't in bed anymore. There was a note on the nightstand. His handwriting was just like him, bold, elegant, easy on the eyes. Mrs. Hale, went to get you breakfast. There's milk in the fridge, drink it first. Also, I booked you a role, I'm directing it. You're playing the lead, the script's under your pillow. I blinked and reached under the pillow. Sure enough, there was a thick script there. I pulled it out, the cover had big, sweeping characters written across it. Moon over the arbor, and under director, one name. Ethan Hale. I smiled. Tears pricked at my eyes. Happy ones. I picked up my phone and opened our chat. I sent him a message. Hey director, need private coaching for tonight's scene. 3 seconds later, he texted back. Wouldn't miss it. My leading lady. Hey there, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please, I'm begging you. It really means a lot to me, and if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.